Good morning.
Hey yo, what the?
10 KTT.
We're live right now. Wow, well, AJ, this is
What's
2
up,
weeks
guys?
in a row of you
2
being
weeks in
on
a
your
row,
phone.
I'm sleeping. I can't get used to the fact that this show is live. But hey, what's up, guys? Here we are. It's a Thursday show. I like to call this State of School because this used to, be our day, my day, to go live and talk about Viking stuff. So here we are. The Vikings are 2-1, coming off a massive W against the Bengals, 48-10.
Sounds right. That is right.
I don't even remember the score. I didn't watch 1 second of it. I was driving back home from up north.
Okay.
I was at a wedding, so I got to listen to PA
That's the way
on
to do it, though,
KFan,
man.
which is a different experience. I feel like you kind of take in the game different when you're listening to it without the visual. But certainly, it was a great game, and obviously there wasn't much to watch after basically after halftime because we basically cruised on the Bengals. 48-10, that's a crazy amount of points to put up. And, we had been talking about the defense. They needed to step up. They needed to come back. So I think they had a great day, and it was just an all-around great game, Zane.
Oh, 100% was. I just remember, we scored the touchdown. I think we went up 48-3 at the time. And I was like, am I watching the Minnesota Vikings? Or am I watching the correct game right now? Because normally this is happening to us.
Right.
We're not the ones dishing out the ass whooping. I'm not even sure. I think it was it 98 the last time we scored that many points? I mean, absolutely unreal game. And also just so unexpected. Everyone was talking about the backup bowl. We're going to see the two backup quarterbacks. Who's going to perform better? Carson Wentz didn't really have to do much because Jake Browning was just giving us the ball. And, of course, our defense was just forcing turnovers left and right.
Yeah, Carson Wentz, he looked okay. I don't think there's really anything that you can say, one way or the other about his performance. I think he took some tough sacks, but also he did a good job distributing the ball and being mobile and working through the offense as it was given to him. And, he didn't really have to do much, given what the defense was doing. And, Jordan Mason, how about him? Jordan Mason was solid on the ground all day, just grinding away tough yards. This is kind of what we were waiting to see. And I think this is what, KOC and this trust was looking for when they, went out and tried to go for a backup. Basically got him for free. And
A fifth-round pick swap?
yeah,
That's crazy.
Easily. You basically paid Ed Ingram for him. I would trade Ed Ingram for Jordan Mason all day if that means
100%.
I get what I get. So, great day from Jordan Mason. Amazing day from the defense. How can you even say anything more about the defense?
You really can't. That was the most unreal defensive performance I've ever seen. And I've been watching football for 29 years at this point. So absolutely unreal. Jordan Mason, like you mentioned, he averaged 7.2 yards per carry.
That's insane.
Hopefully we can keep that up going down the stretch because and barely use Carson Wentz going forward. That'd be very, very nice. But yeah, Jordan Mason was awesome. Xavier Scott, he looked all right too. He's undrafted. So I'm excited about our backfield. Even with Aaron Jones out, this team can still run the ball. And obviously that has a lot to do with our offensive line. Sad that we're missing our left guard for a little bit, but Jackson played great. And the fact that he was playing through that wrist injury when he knew he was going to have surgery, the next week. Dude's a baller. Dude's tough. We have a tough offensive line. And just like you said, our defense, man, could be top 5. I know we're not number 1 on EPA right now per play as a defense, but that's going to happen when you score 2 defensive touchdowns in one game in week 3.
Right. Yeah, I think this unit will eventually get there as far as the top 5 goes. I think they kind of had, a rough go with it the first couple of weeks, just kind of getting grinded down and, week 1 you can always get caught off guard by whoever you're playing just because there's not a ton of tape to go off of. But I think this defense, coming down the stretch in the next couple of weeks, certainly with the offenses that we're playing against, is going to kind of, do their thing and eat and kind of bounce back with those good numbers. You mentioned the offensive line. Donovan Jackson, he's been great. What else can you say about him through 3 games? Obviously, he hurts his wrist, so he's going to be out up until the bye, which is tough. But, you kind of avoided a massive injury here with the wrist surgery and being able to have him out through the bye.
Yeah, it does suck, but hey, he's going to be back in a few weeks. When you say surgery, you normally think it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. No, he's going to be back in 3 weeks, which is absolutely amazing. And also, shout out to the backup center, Michael Juergens. He, for I think his 7th round pick, played absolutely amazing replacing Ryan Kelly. I'm pumped because, Ryan Kelly has one more year with the team. He's going to be maybe 34 next year, I think. And now we might have our next center in the wings just waiting.
Yeah.
You got what else is exciting, you guys? Just as I was thinking, I think Sarge is looking for a sponsorship, and I think Juergens might be his specialty. So.
No, you know what? I don't know if we need a lotion sponsorship. Like, it makes sense, but Sarge could definitely use that for sure. We know he would milk the shit out of that.
Last Sunday, we would have taken a lot of advantage of that lotion. Okay, so
they scored another touchdown.
Let's go.
Get it out.
You got just one quick call out on last week's game. So Age and I talked about T.J. Hawkinson last week on kind of the preview, and I saw a statistic. I think it was from Matthew Berry, who's a fantasy football analyst. But T.J. Hawkinson had, I believe it was a 25% target share last week, which was his highest of the season. I think we're going to continue to see that trend going as Wentz gets acclimated to this KOC offense.
Yeah, and you saw him hit not just TJ, you also saw him hit Josh Oliver as well. He's going to utilize his tight ends. I mean, they're right in front of you, and he should, especially now he's pretty new to this offense.
Right.
But yeah, tight ends are looking great. Carson's looking great. But yeah, it was the defense that was the story of this game. It was Isaiah Rodgers' game. Obviously, he was NFC Defensive Player of the Week. If you didn't know his name, and you're around the league, you know his name now. First ever 99.9 PFF grade. I don't even know. I just remember every single time, just Tony Romo. Guess who it was? It was Rodgers again. Like, it's just,
guess who it was, Tony?
So that was
guess
amazing
who it was,
to
Jim?
see. Do you have any thoughts on the Isaiah Rodgers game?
I mean, it's just legendary to see that. And honestly, that's what you hope for when you sign a free agent cornerback. And that's something that I've always kind of been worried about with the Vikings is, it's kind of hard to really go out and find yourself, a star corner, whether that be in a draft or getting someone in a free agency situation, just because there's very few elite corners. So when they go somewhere, it's kind of hard to pry them off that team. So to be able to have a guy like Isaiah Rodgers, who is, not only did he have like a great, amazing day, all-time, once-in-a-lifetime day, scoring touchdowns and causing fumbles, but he also had great coverage. He had a great deflection on T. Higgins in the end zone. And T. Higgins, we talked about it last week, 6'5", big guy, jump baller. Like, that's a crazy play to go up and make against a guy like that. So, I'm super impressed what I've seen from him so far through these first 3 weeks. And we just got to keep going.
So when we sign a free agent, I love to kind of look at the reactions of the team that the free agent just left from, right? I remember when Blake Cashman left Houston, all of their fans were pretty upset. Same with Van Ginkel with the Dolphins. They were like, we're really letting this guy go? Yeah. Well, when you look at Eagles fans, they were pissed when Isaiah Rodgers was like, go. And when you see the Instagram, or when you see NFL's Instagram, they're posting about Isaiah Rodgers Player of the Week, it's filled with Eagles fans saying, why the fuck did we let this guy go?
Yeah, especially now because they're having quote-unquote corner issues because their first-round picks aren't performing. But whatever. Cry, Eagles fans. We'll see you in a couple weeks, I'm sure. But, yeah, Isaiah Rodgers, this is what you hope for when you have free agent additions like that, is guys that can come in, make an impact, and really just be a difference maker all around. So,
and he was a B-flow guy, so, I had a lot of confidence coming in because the last few B-flow guys, Grenard, Cashman, Van Ginkel, they all worked out pretty well, so it doesn't surprise me too much that Isaiah Rodgers looks absolutely amazing. I got a funny little fact of the last game. There was 4 quarterbacks who played in that game. All 4 of them played for the Vikings at least at one point in their career.
Wow. Interesting. That's crazy.
Is that not hilarious? Like, 4 different quarterbacks played, and all of them were once a Minnesota Viking or are currently a Minnesota Viking.
Wait, who was the...
This is Jake Browning.
Okay.
Brett Rippon.
Oh, for the Bengals?
For the Bengals was their backup quarterback.
Right. I heard PA say Brett Rippon. I was like, wait, Brett Rippon? Like, what?
He's
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was like begging for him to get cut right away. I was like, please let him go. Like we have progressed past the need for Brett Rippon.
And we finally got a little Brosmer, and then all of a sudden, we got Thielen dropping a pass. I'm pretty sure there's another drop when Brosmer was in there. It's like, come on, help out this undrafted free agent quarterback. Let's see what he can do, man.
Help out our gopher guy, man. Like, he's getting the chance to come in here and ball. He's not going to get to come in at all during the season. Knock on wood. I mean,
thank you.
Like, he's not going to get the chance to come in. So let him make the best of it, but it was really cool to see him go in there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I can't remember the last time a Golden Gopher quarterback played an NFL game, so that was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, Jake wishes it was Tanner Morgan.
Hey, Minnesota Vikings practice squad, okay?
Yeah.
That's 2 years ago?
Yeah, he's lucky he got that far, honestly. But yeah, I mean, great game overall. I mean, not too much to say other than that the fact that the defense ate, the offense did what they needed to do. Like I said, I think Carson took some tough sacks. That kind of has me a little worried moving forward just because, the Steelers coming up this week, have a better defense than the Bengals. Obviously, that pass rush with Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, and the $40 million man, TJ Watt, one of the best defensive edges in the game. I mean, he's no doubt a game wrecker. I mean, he can basically make a couple plays to turn the game on its head for themselves. So
I also thought there were also just too many pre-snap penalties, just costing us with Carson as well. Again, he played absolutely fine. There's nothing to complain about in his performance, but if we can knock down the sacks a little bit, if we can stop these pre-snap penalties from happening, the sky really is the limit for this offense with the amount of playmakers they have.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. So coming off that game last week, a 38-point win. What's your panic meter? What's your gauge kind of moving forward into this week, Zane?
I mean, it's hard to have it too high, but I will say with our current quarterback predicament, I'm going to have it at 4 out of 10.
Okay.
My panic meter is a 4 out of 10.
All right.
And that's just because there's a reason that Carson Wentz hasn't been like a legitimate starter like the last 5 years in the league, right? He hasn't really proved it. And now maybe, KOC, he has this history of turning, people into great quarterbacks again, right? Like reviving their careers, like Sam Darnold. Even Josh Dobbs played his best football. Nick Mullins played his best football with KOC. It's just, how pumped were we coming into this year for J.J. McCarthy to have our own top 10 pick coming in there, leading this team 22, the youngest quarterback in the National Football League. All of a sudden, here's Carson Wentz. Yeah. And here's the thing,
early in the season,
but here's the thing, it's really amazing to watch like Carson's press conferences. You can tell he genuinely just loves being a Minnesota Viking. He grew up rooting for this team, and he just seems so happy to be here. And I think everything I remember hearing about him was like, he's not a team player. He's not gonna like listen to the coaches. He's gonna be a selfish guy who just plays hero ball all the time. Well, we just saw in one game he was the perfect game manager.
Right.
And if he can continue to do this with the weapons, with Jordan Addison coming back, this offense could work. Now, do I want to see JJ? I absolutely do, but that's KOC's decision. And because this quarterback situation is kind of in flux, 4 out of 10 for me.
I don't think it's going to get to a point where we end up having a quarterback controversy. I think that whole thing is really...
That's all I see when I go online.
It's really just so overblown. Like, I mean, Carson Wentz has been on so many different teams. He's had his chance. And like you said, I mean, he's going to be, living out his dream, playing for the team that he grew up rooting for. So I think there's a little bit of added incentive there for him. But at the end of the day, I just don't really think it ends up mattering just because you really do have to see what you have in J.J. McCarthy. You know. That being said, I think this table is set up well for Carson Wentz coming back, moving into this next week with Jordan Addison. I'd probably put my panic meter at like a 3.5 right now, just because, the next 2 weeks can be a little bit dicey with some of these international games, and I'm not, super scared of the opponents necessarily coming up, but when I said I wasn't scared of the Falcons, then that was basically
I was the only one.
So.
You and Cam were like, we got this game, and I was like, guys.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that the fucking Falcons were going to be getting free rushers around the side and spraining their quarterback's fucking ankle.
And it's even more depressing how they got their ass kicked 30-0 the following week.
Against the Panthers. They suck.
Oh, my God.
If we played the Panthers today, we'd beat them worse than we did the Bengals. But anyway, I mean, that's just, any given Sunday in the NFL, you never know what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the beauty of the league.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Before we move on to the official preview of next week's game, I think we do want to mention our Baja Blast players of the game against the Bengals. However, we have a little caveat on this week. you can't choose Isaiah Rodgers as your player of
Yeah.
the game because he was definitely the player of the game. We want this to be boring. So you can go first, and then I'll follow you up with my Baja Blast player of the game. No affiliation to 10K.
Gotcha. No affiliation, no free ads, absolutely at all. I have to give my Baja Blast player of the game, to Jonathan Grenard. Listen, I don't know if he got a sack at all, but his effort and his drive is unmatched. Like, he's probably my second favorite Viking right now, besides the almighty Justin Jefferson. But just the way that he attacks off the ball and off the rush and is able to just cause havoc. And when you go back and watch the film, some of the stuff that he's doing against Jake Browning is unbelievable. He's getting to the running back like crazy. I mean, the Bengals had nothing going in the run. I mean, granted, Chase Brown has been dog shit all year.
I think it was, let's see, I have the stats pulled up. I think it was like 10 rushes for let's see this. 10 rushes for 3 yards for Chase Brown.
That's hideous.
That is disgusting.
That's hideous.
Wow.
If you have him in fantasy, you want to die.
Yeah, by the way, I had Vikings D in fantasy.
I went against them.
That won me the game.
I went against them. Not that it mattered anyway, because I ended up losing by 50 points. But yeah, just it's been tough. It's been real tough, man. I'll tell you. Fantasy football, not fun. But it can be. But yeah, I just think, keep stacking these dubs and just move forward.
Yeah. My Baja Blast player of the game, I'm going to go with Andrew Van Ginkel. This is the craziest stat line I've ever seen. He played 8 snaps. He had 2 sacks.
Sacks on 25% of his snaps.
Now it sucks because he's on the injury report this week. He didn't even practice today
with the neck too, which is
that's what's been. Injury. I thought that was bothering him earlier in the camp.
I think it was a concussion.
Oh, it was okay. Yeah. But it's I hate to see him on the injury report, but I mean that efficiency. That's Isaiah Rodgers level of efficiency right there. 2 sacks and 8 snaps. Are you kidding me, man? He's a beast. We had him, 8 snaps. We had him back from the week before against Falcons where he didn't play. We just get him for 8 snaps this game, and he just totally turned the game on its head, just like Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah, I think Andrew Van Ginkel is one of those guys that is so underrated in the fact that he's so good, but we just don't talk about him enough. Like he does his thing. I mean, we saw it a bunch last year, him jumping those screen passes and taking pick sixes. He had, 2 of them last year, and could have had way more, had one.
Yeah. Do you remember the last week of the season playing the Lions for the number 1 seed?
Yes.
He was this close to getting one.
That would have turned the game on its head.
And the game was it was the third quarter. It was like 7-10 at that point. We ended up getting blown out, but could you imagine if he actually converted that? Yeah.
Maybe Sam Darnold wouldn't have played like he shit his pants. I mean, probably not considering everything, but whatever. But yeah, Van Ginkel is solid. Hopefully we can have him back and have him be healthy this week coming up in Dublin. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from these edge rushers.
Yeah, same here. Our front 7, if it's not the best in the league, it has to be number 2.
Yeah, I mean, in Dallas Turner too, like he's eating when he gets the chance.
6 pressures last week. Yeah,
I think his speed is something that can be underrated, an underrated aspect for this defense for sure. So, as we said, coming up, we are in Dublin. The Vikings are to play.
We are.
Yeah, we're gonna go over there. That'd be sweet. But yeah, Vikings, Steelers in Dublin, 8:30 in the morning. I believe Vikings are 2.5, 3.5 point favorites.
With their backup
quarterback against
1.5.
1.5 now. Okay, that changed from earlier today.
I don't love that. I really don't.
You can make some money there.
2.5 too. It looks.
It's 2.5. Okay, yeah, that's what it would look like this morning.
It looks like it's changing pretty frequently right
now. Well, it's a national televised game. It's a lot of eyes on it. So only 8:30 game this week.
Yeah. How do you feel about the early morning games?
You know what? I really don't mind it because, normally I wake up in the morning and I have 3 hours to kill before the Vikings play. Now I can just wake up, eat my breakfast, and go and turn on the TV. Vikings football. I'm very excited about that. I'm also going to my cabin this weekend, so I'm going to bring the TV outside into the woods. Oh. It's gonna be a very nice experience. As long as they win, because if they lose, I will drown myself in the river.
No one will hear you screaming out there if they lose, so hopefully you got some help out there. No, I love the early morning games, honestly. I mean, you kind of get the chance to, wake up, digest the game. If you're an early morning person, perfect. If you're not, then you can kind of sleepwalk yourself through the game, quite literally, and just kind of watch at your own pace. And then, finishes at 11:30ish, and then you kind of have time to get your ducks in a row before the rest of the slate starts. I love that because for me, and I mentioned this last week, I feel like I kind of get overwhelmed when the Vikings are on because I have like the Vikings in red zone kind of on at the same time.
So much is going on.
So it's like so much is going on, which I love, and like I want to be like tapped into red zone, but at the same time, like kind of makes watching the Vikings game a little hard. But yeah.
For me, I'm so locked in on the Vikings, or I can't watch anything else. That's
fair.
always been
fair.
me. My thing is though, like, dude, I'm such a pussy sometimes. If the game's getting like really, really close, I might just like really quickly like, and we're and the other team's driving, we're on defense, they're getting close to red zone. I will occasionally just switch to red zone for like 2 minutes because I just can't take the fucking stress, and I'll turn it back and see what's going on. So I have done that before.
That's so funny. That's crazy. I really don't get like I don't know why. Maybe it's like a I don't get nervous anymore with these Vikings games just because I feel like, with KOC, we're going to have the mentality to win. Like, at this point, I'm just like, okay, well, we're going to figure it out.
He
like,
is the king of one-score games.
Yeah. I think he's kind of, softened us up in that regard. Like, yeah, we're going to figure this out, guys. Like, we're going to do it. We're going to win.
But do you remember the Packer games last year? Both of them. Towards the end, it just kept getting closer and closer and closer. We had such big leads, and I'm sitting there freaking the fuck out. Like, what is going on? Like, I need to like go outside. I need a quick break before I can like continue with the games.
Yeah, that second one was like dicey. The one in Lambeau when we were blowing around, I was like, okay, well, like you're trying, but like you're not gonna come back. Like, but yeah, I mean, KOC is this king of one-score games, and I think we're gonna have to work that magic again this week against the Steelers. I'm not super concerned with their offense. Aaron Rodgers, we played him last year. I think he's done okay for the Steelers, but there's not a ton of weapons for him to work with, and their run game right now is putrid.
Their run game is putrid. Last week, Jalen Warren, 18 attempts, 47 yards. That's a 2.6 average. That's not good at all.
He's catching a ton of balls, though.
He is. He did lead them in receiving.
So goofy.
Yeah, it is really weird. But this is crazy. So remember last time the Vikings played Rodgers, he played for the Jets. He threw the ball like 55, 52 something times like that in the game.
Insane.
He got picked off 3 times. That's not how Pittsburgh's going to be playing this year or
No.
this upcoming week. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. So far, 70% of Pittsburgh's receiving yards have actually come after the catch.
Wow.
So he's throwing it behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage, and he's letting his players run, which is kind of that's just not how I remember Aaron Rodgers playing football. I just remember him just kicking our ass deep down the field, throwing to Devontae Adams, just sitting there like really they're up 15 right now. But I'm excited to see exactly how they're going to play against us. I mean, we're a great defense who's going to get a lot of pressure, but is Aaron Rodgers, is he going to learn from last year? I think he pre-made decisions, which led to, that Van Ginkel pick 6, for example. Is he going to continue to do that, or do they have a completely different game plan that we're not expecting at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not being able to run the ball certainly changes a lot for them, and there's going to be a lot of, I think, dump-offs to Jalen Warren. I think they got to get DK involved early in the short game, in the quick game. And he's, another one of those physical wide receivers that we talked about that could cause problems for those Vikings corners. And I think he's better than T. Higgins just off the fact that, he's got more catchability and his speed is world class.
Well, he's just one thing that DK has is he's just a giant.
Yeah, he's a freak.
And when you see him on, you can barely believe he's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
He looks like a tight end or something like that,
literally.
so it's going to be tough. I have written down right here, one of the keys to the game is Steelers, obviously their offense hasn't looked that great. One thing that they're doing great this year is they have the second best red zone offense in the NFL. And it's because they have DK and they have 3 tight ends who they actually throw the ball to quite a bit. They got Freiermuth, they got Janu Smith, and I forgot their last one, but they hit their tight ends a lot.
Darnell Washington.
There you go. AJ's got him right there, right? So, but here's the thing. They have all these giant players that they love to hit in the red zone. Do you know off the top of your head the size of the Vikings corners?
Not
Isaiah Rodgers, 5'10". Byron Murphy, 5'11". Our tallest CV is going to be Jeff Okudah, and I think he's like 6'3". So I think the goal is you can't let them get to the red zone.
right.
Yeah, if they get to the red zone, they might just throw it over all of our corners. I do have a little bit more confidence seeing Isaiah Rodgers last game and him stopping T. Higgins, right? But if the Steelers are going to win, it's because they're getting into the red zone, and then they're just using their size to take advantage over these Vikings' smaller corners.
Right. Yeah, so I think defensively, that's something you got to worry about, them getting in the red zone, going over top. I think the harder matchup for the Vikings is going to be their offense going against the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense coming into the year had, a lot of high expectations. They kind of, weren't looking the best. They gave up a ton of points early. Last week, they kind of got back on track against the Patriots.
Let's be honest, they should have lost last week.
They definitely should have.
They got very lucky with the turnovers, but they won. So that's what a good team does. They find a way to win, right?
Yeah, find a way to win on the road. You can't say anything else about it. And, Mike Tomlin is the GOAT. Like, he's one of, the great coaches in the NFL. He's been around for as long as he has for a reason. He gets that team, to 500 every year for a reason.
Slightly over 500.
Yeah, and into the 7th seed for the AFC. Like, they haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Which is hard to believe.
Insane.
Even they have competitive teams every year,
Right.
though. It's actually kind of reminds me of, like the Vikings, where they always can put up a competitive team, but they just can't get past that first fucking round, right?
Right, yeah. So, they're probably the AFC Vikings in that regard. But, I think that you got to be kind of careful with the Steelers defense. Like I say, TJ Watt, that man can wreck a damn game.
Yep. Do you guys think, or what do you think Jordan Addison's impact is? His first game back from his suspension. There's a question in the chat here. I guess it's a comment, but what do you think about Jordan Addison?
That's a tough one just because they haven't practiced together all year, right? When you saw training camp, J.J. McCarthy and Jordan Addison, they looked really insane.
Best buddies.
I think Kevin O'Connell said this week in a press conference that Jordan Addison was like the training camp player of the camp, right? Like he was that good.
Wow.
And you could even in the preseason game, like when JJ made his big completions, it was going to Jordan Addison. I think having Jordan Addison back means everything. I just don't know how it's going to work with Carson Wentz.
Right.
And do you have any opinions on how do you think it's going to work?
I am definitely interested to see how that's going to work for sure. Just because we didn't see him throw the ball a lot last week. I mean, he got the ball to Jefferson for 75 yards, had good connections with TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver. I definitely think, he has kind of an eye for Jalen Naylor too. But putting Addison into this offense, he's a stud. He's a great wide receiver. I just don't know, what you can really expect from him the first couple weeks, especially with the backup quarterback that he doesn't have a ton of chemistry with. I do think, depending on what his number is on some of these betting sites, I would maybe take his longest reception. I could definitely see him getting, a chunk catch for sure, of 20-plus yards or so, this Sunday. But I don't know if it's going to be, quite what we expect.
So let's say the over-under. I don't know exactly the over-under, but let's say it was set at 45 yards for Jordan Addison.
I would say that sounds good. I don't know.
Would you go over?
Honestly, I would feel like I would have to go under at this point.
37.5.
37? Okay, that's pretty close.
Yards.
That's crazy.
It's 3 yards less than what I said. No, I said 45, right? So that's 7 yards.
Half receptions.
But again, they ran so well last week, right? Are they gonna be? And how many times did Carson? I know they were winning. I think he threw 20 times. You got to think he'll throw at least 25 now. I mean, I'm just trying to think at least.
Right.
If it's a normal game, different field. Yeah, and one thing too about these international contests, kind of how it works is it's kind of they're kind of crappy games almost every single time.
Yeah.
And what normally happens is just the better team normally wins these games, right? Because of all the travel, everyone's exhausted. It normally ends up the better teams just win, right? It might be a crappy game, but the better team's going to win. I do think the Vikings are better than the Steelers, and they should win. However, you just don't know these international games because crazy shit happens all the time. And remember, I think the Vikings won 2 or 3 years ago against the Saints. They won because they had a double doink and they missed their kick.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That was dicey for sure.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Fun fact, the Vikings are undefeated in international games.
I think 5-0.
Yeah. Crazy. So let's keep it going. I have no doubt at all that we're going to win on Sunday. And, this is kind of our thing.
No doubt at all.
No doubt.
Damn,
It's a certified W.
I love the confidence, AJ. I really do.
I'm never going to come on the show and pick us to lose.
Well, dude,
ever.
The Falcons game woke my ass up. Okay, I went to that game. I had great tickets. Shout out to the Minnesota Vikings at Ticketmaster. They let some of the boys sit at I think it's called the Lumen Cabins. It's the best.
Nice.
It was the best seat I've ever had, and it was free food and free drinks the whole entire time.
Oh, Lord.
And that was the only thing that made the experience worth it because everything else about that game was the worst thing I've ever seen. So because I witnessed that game, I'm not going to be as confident as you. However, I do think a lot of the fucking factors in this game really help Minnesota. Pittsburgh's 30 minutes. Pittsburgh's offense isn't looking great, and then you have the Vikings defense looking, lights out, amazing. And then the Vikings offense, it seems like for the first week we had a little bit of life. Besides that fourth quarter against Chicago, we had a little bit of life. Now we're getting Jordan Addison back. Now we have even with Jackson out on the offensive line, we still have left guard. He played all of last year. Why am I not remembering his name?
Phil Lodeholt.
No, yeah, it's Phil Lodeholt. Thank you. Oh my gosh. But he played all last year, and he wasn't absolutely horrible. Oh my gosh. Come on, AJ, you should know this.
I'm blanking.
Blake
hard right now.
Brandel. There we go.
Oh,
Into my head.
Brandel.
Brandel literally
Yeah,
was
he
our
was
starter
solid.
all of last year. He wasn't great, but as a backup, we can survive the next 2 weeks, right? I mean, I think we have a really great opportunity here to do something. We can't guarantee that it's not going to – we need more games before we can guarantee that they're not going to look like that team that played the Atlanta Falcons 2 weeks ago. That image is just in my head, and it was just such a horrible game to watch. Like, I'm glad the beer was free because we had a lot of it that night.
Yeah, you should when you have a game that you go to and it looks like that. So good on you for drinking those beers that were free. But I beg to differ. I have confidence in this team all the time. I can see through the matchups. I can see it being a sloppy game. I'm going to go with my score prediction here. 24-16 Vikings.
Okay, I actually have a similar one to you. I have 21-17 Vikings.
Okay.
I'm thinking back to when we played the Jets last year abroad. We picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times, and that game still came down to the wire.
Yikes.
So that's just what I'm thinking of. I feel like it's going to be really similar, and it could like literally be 21-17. Aaron Rodgers has the ball, 55 seconds left, one timeout to drive the field to score. I could see that, and then the Vikings getting another pick like Stephon Gilmore got last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be unreal. But I really do think it's going to be a tight game, which is why I'm not like overconfident like you. I do think the Vikings will win and should win, and if they can rattle off this one and then get another W against Cleveland the next week, huge. Then I'm going to start building up that confidence. I'm going to be like, this team can do something. But we have some real, especially, upcoming weeks 7, 8, we have some real competition coming to US Bank Stadium. So if we want a good season, these are kind of must-win games these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think they're must-win games for sure. But I think, with the way that the schedule is set up, with us being abroad for, the consecutive weeks, it's going to work in our favor for sure.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, a different environment playing in Ireland as well. The first game in Ireland, so I think we're gonna be juiced up. But I think, the Vikings fans, they travel well. And we've got a ton of Scolders over there right now in Dublin ready to rock on and get loud for the Vikings. So I just feel super confident in this game. But, it comes down to it. So we'll just have to wait and see what we do against the Steelers.
Hell yeah. Johns, you got any predictions? It doesn't even have to be final score. Do you have any player predictions? Any predictions at all?
I've been thinking about this all day. Vikings are going to win 21-10.
Oh.
Ooh.
Jordan Mason, all 3 of our touchdowns.
I love that.
I think this is going to be just a gross game where it's going to be a lot of runs. There's not going to be a ton of big plays. I think both defenses, especially when it comes to pass defense, are pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's all going to come down to the rushing game. I'm not scared of the Steelers at all. This is an easy win.
Me neither. Yep, let's grind them out. Let's hand it to Jordan Mason, have him get another 100-yard game, and let's go to 3-1.
That'd be unreal. Before we wrap up here, I do want to just go over the injury report.
Yeah, good call.
Andrew Van Ginkel was a do not practice on Thursday, which
Come
is
on.
Another do not practice was Ben Urasek. I mean, hey, we can just throw
God.
Nick Vanette in there, right? But those were the only big ones. Ryan Kelly was full practice. Justin Skoll, full practice. Jalen Redmond is a full practice as well. He is absolutely unreal. The fact that he's our third best DT is absolutely unreal.
He's eating right now.
Yeah,
he's eating.
Yes, he's a beast. Super glad we had him. Can't believe he was in the UFL just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Great scouting department by the Minnesota Vikings. It's funny that they have one of the best pro scouting departments in the league. If only they could have a great scouting department.
A great draft. Drafts have been horseshit, but thank God you can sign free agents.
Yes.
Thank God. Holy shit. So, at least we got something working for us.
Yeah. You have anything else you want to say before
I think we got to shout out some of our ads here.
You can do that.
So, Underdog Fantasy, guys, get our code. When you deposit on the app, use our code 10K. That'll get you a deposit match. Guys, I've been getting free hookups all week. Just in the last week, we got a free pick for Russell Wilson on Sunday.
R.I.P.
Had a free pick for Lamar Jackson on Monday. Got a free pick for Bryson DeChambeau on Friday for the Ryder Cup. Like, they're giving me deals like crazy. Profit boosts, discounts. I mean, I've had 2 discounts in the past week. Like, it's the stuff that you're getting on Underdog is amazing. And it's really one of the most unmatched betting apps on the market. Like, great stuff. Things don't get bumped. Lots of variety if you want first half, first quarter, second half, all that stuff. Tons of different sports, tons of deals. Get Underdog and get our code 10K. Put that in. That'll get you a deposit match. You throw in 20, you get 40. Let's go.
If you believe in Jordan Addison and you think he's going to hit over 37.5, let's sign up. Let's hit that bet. I'm going to hit that bet, actually. Now that I've been thinking about it, he's going to be hungry. Like, he's going to feast. And someone else we want to shout out, Captain's Patch. It's one of the best beers out there on the market. It's obviously made by Elm Creek and inspired by us 10K guys. So go and try it. You can find it at Minnesota Wild games, and you can also find it at Minnesota Twins games. Well, they're still
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's a question in the chat. We can end on 2 things. I'll call it something, but Gavin Moen 22 asks, let's just go yes or no answer. Gut reaction, guys. If available, should JJ play against the Browns? This is not Justin Jefferson, by the way.
No. Because that Browns defense is fucking insane. But also, I don't know if I want his first game back to be against the Eagles.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
Poison at this point. Like,
Yeah.
are we just gonna sit him on the bench until they finally play a bad team? We can't. If he's available, and if Carson Wentz if he plays the same as last week, you're gonna put J.J. McCarthy in if he's available against Cleveland. I really think that. But if Carson goes out there and has an amazing game, I think that Carson will continue.
Right.
But I know it's not a yes or no, but I'm doing a caveat with that one.
There we go.
And then just real quick for the chat listeners, we are doing a Ryder Cup stream, I believe tomorrow or the 26th. We'll
tomorrow.
also stream the Vikings Ireland game, obviously, and then Ryder Cup Day 3. So go Team USA and Skol Vikes.
And I do want to just shout out one last thing. Obviously, we do a recap on the show, and it's very brief of the previous week's game. We do have a show every Monday here at 10K TV where they go in depth and they recap the games, and it's a great crew. Kevin and Adam are absolutely hilarious guys, and they also really know what they're talking about. I really respect their football opinions, and I think it's like a gem of a show that not many people know about is our Monday episode on 10K TV. So again, if you love football and you want an in-depth recap of all the past weekend games, go watch those guys.
Yeah, those guys are super knowledgeable, super in-depth with how they present their stuff. They're great guys. So definitely check that show out on Mondays. They put in some good work.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for our episode this week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week previewing the Browns game and recapping the dub against the Steelers in Dublin.
Hell yeah.